Most people die twice. The first time is when they stop questioning their life, when they surrender their identity to become just another gear in a machine they didn't build. The second time is when their heart actually stops beating. For most of us, there is a span of decades between those two deaths. In Blade Runner 2049, Officer K isn't a villain, he isn't a hero. He is a tool, a manufactured creature designed to serve a purpose that isn't his, suppress his emotions, and go home to an artificial life. But the most terrifying thing about K isn't that he is a replicant, it's how closely his life mirrors yours. We like to think we are free, but somewhere along the line, we accepted a trade. We traded our freedom for comfort, our purpose for predictability, and our authenticity for permission from a world that doesn't care if we live or die. You feel it, don't you? That quiet, persistent weight in the back of your mind, the feeling that you are just performing a role in someone else's story. Today, we're breaking down the psychological architecture of Blade Runner 2049, not as a movie review, but as a roadmap for your own mind. Through 5 distinct levels, we're going to trace the path K took from a hollow, obedient machine to someone who finally chose what it means to be real. The question isn't whether you're trapped inside the system. The question is, how far are you willing to go to wake up? Have you ever felt like you aren't actually living, but just functioning? Like you are operating on a script that someone else wrote for you. K is a replicant. He does the dirty work. He goes home and he survives. But to keep his place in the system, he has to pass something called a baseline test, a harsh, rhythmic psychological evaluation designed to prove one thing: that he feels absolutely nothing. The moment his heart beats a little too fast, the moment he shows a crack of genuine human emotion, he is considered broken. He is retired. You don't live in a cyberpunk dystopia, but society has its own baseline test. It doesn't interrogate you in a sterile white room. It tests you with routines. You wake up, you commute, you sit at a desk, you come home exhausted, scroll through a feed of meaningless noise, and you go to sleep. Repeat. The system, the colony, rewards you for staying numb. It wants your cells interlinked with the machine. As long as you don't ask why, you pass the test. You get to keep your comfortable little spot in the hierarchy. But sometimes, you feel this heavy, hollow ache in your chest. You look around and think, is this really it? Society calls that depression. It calls it a crisis. It tells you to medicate it, ignore it, or buy something to make it go away. But what if that emptiness isn't a malfunction? What if failing society's baseline is the first actual sign that you are waking up? The pain you are feeling isn't you breaking down. It is the friction of your mind trying to detach from a machine it was never meant to be plugged into. When reality is unbearable, we build holograms to survive it. K goes home to a tiny, bleak apartment, but he doesn't face the silence. He turns on Joy. She's a multi-million-dollar AI hologram programmed to be everything he needs. She calls him special. She calls him a real boy. She provides the exact illusion of intimacy required to keep him sane enough to do his job the next day. She is beautiful, she is comforting, and she is entirely fake. We look at K and pity him for falling in love with code. But what does your hologram look like? Your Joy isn't a neon woman in your living room. Your Joy is the algorithm feeding you a constant stream of cheap dopamine so you don't have to sit alone with your thoughts. It's the junk food you eat to feel a temporary spike of joy. It's the toxic relationship you stay in because it's familiar. It's every distraction you use to avoid facing the cold, hard truth of your own life. We cling to these coping mechanisms because the alternative is terrifying. Without the hologram, the room is just dark and empty. But here's the brutal truth about leveling up. You cannot heal in the same environment that keeps you sick. As long as you rely on the artificial comfort of your coping mechanisms, you will never have the hunger required to build something real. K only begins to truly change when the illusion is shattered. Growth does not happen in the comfort of a hologram. It happens in the cold. It happens when you look at the screen, turn it off, and finally, let the silence in. Once the silence settles in, we are forced to confront the biggest lie we have ever been told. The lie that we are destined for greatness. K uncovers a hidden memory, a wooden horse. It leads them to a staggering conclusion. He isn't just the machine. He was born. He is a miracle. For the first time in his manufactured existence, he believes he is the center of the story. But then, the brutal truth is revealed. He isn't the child. He isn't special. He is just a decoy, a nobody. This is the death of main character syndrome. You grew up believing the universe owed you a spectacular destiny. You thought your struggles were just the gritty backstory to your inevitable triumph. But what happens when you wake up one day and realize you are just average? You aren't a billionaire, you aren't famous, you are just another person on a very crowded planet. Most people let this realization destroy them. When their miracle delusion shatters, they fall into a deep nihilistic crash. They think, if I am not special, then nothing matters. But they are missing the most profound psychological shift of human existence. Destiny is a cage. If you are the chosen one, you are just following another script written by someone else. Realizing you are completely ordinary is the most terrifying thing in the world, but it is also the key to absolute freedom. Because if there is no grand plan for you, it means the canvas is completely blank. When you realize you aren't the chosen one, you face a fork in the road. Path 1 is nihilism. Nothing matters, so why even try? This is where most people freeze. They use their lack of specialness as an excuse to retreat back to their holograms, back to their routines, back to being a gear in the machine. Path 2 is existentialism. Nothing matters, so I get to choose what matters. Stripped of his grand illusion, K reaches this exact crossroads. He isn't the miracle child. His memories belong to someone else. He has every reason to disappear or surrender, but instead, he does something radical. He acts. He goes to save Debt Card, not because of prophecy told him to, not because his employer ordered it. In fact, saving Debt Card goes against every rule he has ever been given. He does it simply because he chose to. For the first time in his life, K isn't reacting. He is deciding. True psychological maturity happens when you stop looking for a pre-packaged purpose and start assigning your own weight to things. Purpose isn't a grand revelation waiting for you at the end of a long journey. It's a daily, deliberate act of creation. It doesn't matter if the colony understands your choice. It doesn't matter if your goals seem small or crazy to everyone else. The moment you take responsibility for your own direction, you cease to be a machine. At the end of the film, K lies bleeding on a flight of stairs in the freezing cold. He didn't save the world. He didn't overthrow the empire. He didn't become famous or powerful. To the rest of society, he is just another broken replicant left in the snow. But as he reaches out his hand and feels the cold, wet touch of the falling snow, there is a profound quiet in his eyes. He achieved what millions of real humans never do. He experienced something entirely authentic. He lived and died on his own terms. We spend our entire lives chasing grand achievements, validation, and status, hoping that if we accumulate enough trophies, we will finally feel whole. But wholeness doesn't come from being exceptional. It comes from being present. It comes from having the courage to feel the weight of your own existence, even when it hurts. You don't need to conquer the world to live a real life. You just need to stop letting the system live it for you. So look at your life right now. Look at the routine you wake up to tomorrow morning. Look at the holograms you use to numb the silence. Look at the quiet excuses you make for staying in your comfort zone. The machine wants you quiet. The colony wants you interlinked. It wants you to pass the baseline, scroll the feed, and wait for a destiny that is never coming. But you aren't a machine, and you don't need permission to wake up. The illusions are gone. The room is dark. The baseline has failed. Now, which direction are you going to walk?